Yes, this is that history chick. Yes, I am in the capital. Hartford. Yeah, taking us some history. Yes. We're going to go to the museum in the old state house now. See where the day takes us. Oh yeah, it's great. It's a fun state. Yes, it is technically New England. No. Yeah, it feels different than the rest of New England. Closer to New York City, yes. Accents change. Yeah, they do. Still good to be here? You betcha.
Hello peeps, welcome to Hartford, Connecticut and the creepy state capital as promised with its Gothic revival architecture and strange statues. You guys will see what I mean in just a second. We are joined today by my mom and my sister having a nice family time here in Connecticut. Can't believe I've never brought you here before. Better late than never. We're going to have an awesome day and we're going to have a look around. It is dreary, but I drove through a nor'easter yesterday to get here, so this is nothing compared to that. The weather seems to be holding, so it's going to be a really good time. We're going to take in history not only of the area, but things of national importance sprinkled in. This is a place of much significance, as you will see, and I'm really, really excited to be here and show it to you. This capital was completed in 1878 because the city just outgrew its old governmental building, which is the old State House we're going to see in a minute. Right, we are in. Super nice staff. You do go through security. Here is a treasure right off the bat. I remember seeing this before. This is Lafayette's camp bed. Yes, the Marquis, General Lafayette. Mom had a good point. It almost has an Egyptian kind of a Middle Eastern, North African vibe to it. We're thinking it's the colors and kind of the columns, the way they're painted here. But this isn't even the creepiest part yet. Talking about capitals, and I've told you guys how I've been to different ones all over, and good ones and bad ones. The Maine state capital, Augusta, is really beautiful. The one in Oregon is really heinous. This one is very unique. Just very strange. Oh boy. Statue phobia kicking in. I do not. Now oh God, I can barely look at her. Okay, she used to be on the dome and then they brought her in. Oh, big imposing figures, and especially of angels. I'm telling you guys, you know. They freak me out. I told my mom and my sister when we were getting ready and debating if they were going to join me today for this or not. I said, you guys can laugh at me as I freak out over statues. Turns out it runs in the family because mom doesn't like big imposing statues either. So maybe it's hereditary. However, has no issues. I don't like it. No, those are fine because they're like small and at regular level. But this, She's trying to understand why. She said, how does it make you feel? I said, weak in the knees. Do any of you guys feel that way? Comment below if you don't like big imposing figures or statues. Maybe it's just my own weirdness. I don't know. I'm gonna go down and look at Connecticut state history as told by murals. It is a fast escalator. I can't get it. Oh, where do we go? And I'm sure you guys have heard me say many times that, you know, New Hampshire, my live free or die state, sent a ton of boys during the Rev War to battle, particularly Bunker Hill. Connecticut also has a huge contribution and role to play, even in the Siege of Boston, which again is the time that we are in right now. Okay, there's something creepy about this. Like, we're being led to something. Whoa! This really sucks you in. Oh, Groton Heights. Benedict Arnold, you utter arse. I will take you guys there at some point. Remember we were talking about Benedict Arnold? Yeah, so after he did us dirty at West Point, and Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown, the war was not over. That was only 1780. The next 3 years before the Treaty of Paris was signed, there was some tumultuous times, and Groton Heights, burning of New London, Benedict Arnold had a huge part to play in that, and killed a lot of good people, and that's a whole story. We'll have to get over there one day. There's Mark Twain, whose home is down the street from where we are right now.
His neighbor was Harriet Beecher Stowe, two great American authors. As we make our way down this weird moving platform, there's welcoming Armenian immigrants, the Armenian people, wonderful people who've contributed a lot to this country. Let's see where this takes us. Okay, got off the moving platform here, and here is a nice memorial to soldiers and veterans. That beautiful statue was recognized in the Korean War. Here is, of course, the famous flag raising at Iwo Jima. That flag is at the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Virginia, an incredible museum, highly recommend. Vietnam veterans right here. Love those guys. And this is in honor of women who have served. Here's a wall of honor here. The guy who told us to come down and that there would be murals also said Lafayette was colonel and he was a general, so I think maybe he meant these pictures thinking these were murals. You know the Southern saying, oh, bless your heart. Maybe it was one of those kind of situations. It's okay. It's okay. This is a big place. We did ask some other staffers and nobody had any clue what we're talking about, so we're thinking maybe this is the quote-unquote murals. It's fine. It's kind of giving some information about different towns and when they were founded. So like Massachusetts and the rest of America, we were, we're standing on ground that was really established for religious freedom, for Christians to be able to practice any denomination, not just the official Church of England. Here is showing a picture of John Trumbull's famous piece of work that is down the street at the Wadsworth Athenaeum. That is the death of Dr. Warren, our precious Dr. General Joseph Warren, who of course passed away at Bunker Hill, which, hey you guys, Bunker Hill is getting closer and closer. I'm very excited for the 250th of that. Who it is? It's George Whitefield, the one who drove the devil out of Ipswich, Mass. If you guys haven't watched that vlog, that's actually one of my favorites. It's early on. I didn't have a good camera yet, but it's one of my favorite topics and a really fun story, so I highly suggest you guys go back and watch. Love, love, love Reverend Whitefield. He was the most famous man at the time and was an absolute rock star. King depicts Hooker and his company journeying through the wilderness from Plymouth to Hartford. Oh yeah, there were witch trials in Connecticut as well. The town of Wethersfield nearby actually had a good amount of them. And this is Alice Young of Windsor, became the first person executed for witchcraft in Britain's North America colonies. So actually started here well before the Salem witch trial. There's a large school group ahead. This tunnel, by the way, is under the freeway. Here's a fun one. You guys know Lyme's disease from the deer ticks? Lyme's actually a nice town, but unfortunately it is where Lyme's disease came from because it was first found in a deer tick there and somebody got sick. So Lyme's disease is no joke. It's actually a big issue around here, and that is why I avoid the woods in warmer weather, wear bug spray, and try to wear long pants. You definitely don't want it. Back up the escalator. There she is. Creepy. To show you the replica of the Liberty Bell. A lot of state capitals have these. Even has the crack and everything, which Disney lied to me for years. Davy Crockett did not, in fact, patch the crack in the Liberty Bell. The original Liberty Bell being in Philadelphia, and next year is the 250th anniversary of the birth of America. And I'm sure it's going to be a madhouse, but we'll probably have to get there soon. Now here comes another imposing statue, but it's one I love. Get kind of emotional over. And I can tell right away who this is. This is the young, unfortunate spy, Nathan Hale. Came from a wonderful patriot family in Coventry, Connecticut, and agreed to sign up for a special project. We were going to try out a spy system. British intelligence was already working on their own, and he was posing as a school teacher
On Long Island.
So one day he was walking through the countryside dressed in his teaching clothes and was questioned, but he was a very sweet young man, just a teenager, not a very good liar. And it was pretty evident when they questioned him that he was one of us. So they took him and they hanged him, and we don't actually know where or where he is buried. But famously, his last lines, "I regret that I have but one life to lose for my country, or one life to give for my country." There's different versions of it. And we get that from British officers who say that even they were moved by this young man giving that line. The fact that in his last hours is just a teenage boy in the prime of his life, he thought to say that was very poignant, and everybody knew what it meant at the time. Anybody with even a little bit of education would have known. And a brave young man, a symbol of patriotism, courage, and fortitude, even in the face of death. That's how much he believed in the cause, so very inspiring. I don't know exactly what Nathan Hale looked like, so this is just kind of a artistic representation of a nice patriot young man from the area, how they would have looked. The only image we have is actually at the Hale homestead in Coventry. There is a sketch on the back of a door that we think one of his siblings may have sketched, and that it's him, but it's very hard to see. I'll insert a picture.
This very vague outline sketch on the back of a door in his homestead in Coventry is the only thing we've got.
Even though he did lose his life, we learned from him, and we were able to go in and make our spy network better, improve upon it, create a more cohesive team and a plan. And I always say that there are several things that led us to where we are: Providence, the French, General Washington, and our spy network. So hats off to Nathan Hale, a big huzzah for him and his memory. May it be a blessing. Even though, like I've been telling you guys, sometimes it's those sacrifices in the early years. And unfortunately, his life was cut short, but it wasn't for nothing. As we are standing here behind me. There's another one of those creepy, oh my gosh, I'm standing here. It's what, 6,600 pounds? Nasty. On up the creepy balcony, because you guys know I love not only giant statues, but giant open spaces. And the more heights, the better. Not. To thank you guys, though, my peeps, because you make me brave. Remember when we went to the Museum of the Near East at Cambridge, and Noah was posing upstairs in the lounge as Indiana Jones, and we went into one of the exhibits? Those stairs were quite high, but I had a tactic. I kept the camera rolling, and I brought you guys with me, and the distraction was really, really good. So you guys helped me in more ways than one. It made me brave, and I think the distraction, something about holding the camera, kind of counterbalanced my mind, and just, I don't know. But you guys came to the rescue on that, so maybe I'll try that again today. It would be weird if that's a thing that works. I guess everywhere I go, I have to carry the camera with me and tape as I go upstairs, but hey, it's better than chickening out and not going up the stairs at all. My older sister, in all of her glorious wisdom, said, there's probably an elevator. True that. But once I get up there, if the balconies are open and there's giant open space, I'm still not gonna like that. I honestly can't remember how open it is up here. We'll have to see. And like most state capitals, because this is a governmental building, it's open Monday through Friday only. So you guys know, when you're traveling, if you're thinking about getting on board the nerd train and checking out state capitals like I love to do, make sure you plan around that and don't plan on visiting on the weekends, because they're not going to be opened. But if you can get to them and it works out for you during the week, I highly recommend visiting either your state capital or state capitals around you, or even making it a point. Maybe go on a little road trip of wherever it is that you guys are and check these things out, because it really is a fun way to get to know a state and see what they're all about. I'm trying it, I'm doing it. I'm bringing you guys with me. I'm not a fan of this, but I'm going to be distracted. You guys make me brave. Okay, it has open space in the middle, which I hate, but it's pretty wide and that's narrow. So as long as I have walls around me, I'm not gonna like going up there very much, but I think we're good here. And I'll admit, this is not my favorite state government in the country. We're not gonna get in the weeds or get into politics today, but here you go. A lot of decisions for the state of Connecticut made in here. Oh, think of the punch parties we could have with this. Let's take it all over to Hartford and have some fun, guys. Remember I told you about punch parties? I don't think that's what this is for. Wah, wah. That's a crazy fount, though. See, look at how funky this style is, though. It's very unique amongst state capitals, I'm telling you. This is a very interesting style. They are all different. The Vermont state capitol, very, very post-Civil War in its style and very Reconstructionist. The one in Augusta, Maine, classic. The one in Oregon and Wyoming, those ones are a little more modern. The one in Springfield, Illinois is very beautiful and classic. The one in Washington State modeled after the national capital. This one is a very strange, creepy, Gothic / Egyptian, Victorian hodgepodge of funk. All right, you guys gonna make me brave again? Let's see. Me no likey. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm proud of myself. All right, not so bad. I think because I'm walled in. These statues over here don't help though. Really not much different over here. Except you can see the dome there. Only thing is, guys, I'm very dizzy. I don't like this because it's open in here and I'm looking at it. There's no walls up. I'm like hang back and cling to this concrete wall and show you guys from a distance. Seriously, I'm like gripping, if you guys can see this, like leaning and gripping this concrete. I just get very dizzy. My lunatic sister is looking over the edge. But you're not afraid of heights at all.
No, not at all. I wonder what this little thing is. Go all the way up. And
That's insane. It is a telephone booth?
Yeah.
You know, honestly, it looks like a confessional. I don't really have much to confess right at this second, except that I don't like wide open spaces and creepy statues. Hello? Hello? I think it's just more of the same. I'm ready to move on. You guys ready to move on?
Moving on.
Let's move on. More history to get to and fun stuff ahead. Let's do it. Tag winning. We found an elevator. It is cool. Honestly, not my most favorite of all state capitals, just because it's a little creepy. And there's no art. You guys notice?
That's right. It's weird.
There's like no art.
There's no art.
Like, where's all the art? I like when there's like paintings and, you know, this is just like big open space with creepy pedestals and marble and weirdness and stuff like this. But no art. All right. Back outside. Kit sent John Trumbull and Roger Sherman as their statues to represent the state to the national capital. Two great men. John Trumbull, you know, everybody thinks of his paintings and doesn't realize the importance of him in the Rev War and his father. And there was a whole bunch. There's Jonathan Trumbull, and John Trumbull. And all from the same darn family. To a place I have never been, the Museum of Connecticut History. So that will help fill in the blanks. Now, Connecticut has a very special place in my heart because this is where I first started coming to visit my sissy when I lived on the West Coast. And you know, I had been out before and I would adventure. I'd get a car, I'd go into Boston and do all this. So I've been coming to New England for many, many years. She also, of course, she's my sister, was raised with me in Los Angeles and spent a lot of time with our grandparents on the East Coast in Maryland. So her story is similar to mine. She didn't quite catch the history bug like I do. Everybody's different, has different interests. But, you know, that's part of our backstory. And been coming to Connecticut for a long time. Ironically, though, I used to come more before I moved to New England myself. Just life and everything. My nephew, who you guys met when we went to Lexington and Concord for the 250th, graduated high school last night and will be going to university to play football and study business, and we're very proud of him. So that is part of why I'm in town today. We had family day yesterday, and then my mom and sister wanted to join me for a filming adventure today. So that is what we are doing. What do you guys think of the Capitol? Message me if you think it was creepy. Comment below. I'm curious and excited to see what this has, and I'm even more excited after this to go into the old State House where the Amistad Trials were held, and that place has a very storied history. It has been closed for years and years and years. I was never able to go in it, and just recently opened back up. Can't wait to go inside. This is kind of a creepy building too, so this is more governmental offices, and it shares with the museum, which I can tell already looks kind of funky. So it's gonna be interesting here, so there's no recording, so I'm gonna have to stand back here. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Okay, so even my sister just said kind of creepy. So you guys know, it is very weird. This is like an old, I don't know. Look how dark everything is too. It looks lighter on the camera, I can tell. It's not, it's like dark in here, it's weird. I feel like here's the painting. So typically these would be in the Capitol, but for some reason they have it void of any art and they put it here across the street, which is a little funky, I'm not gonna lie. You guys, this is a truly incredible piece of history. In 1660, the English monarchy was restored after years of turmoil when King Charles II took the throne. Although early Connecticut government operated under the Fundamental Orders of 1639, the document had never received official sanction from England. Connecticut's General Court, authorized by Governor John Winthrop Jr., the younger, traveled to England in 1661 to petition the king for a royal charter for the colony. A year later, Charles II granted the colony's request, resulting in the document that you see here. This gave the people of Connecticut a clear legal basis for their colony. So it really set the standard, and this is how it would be going forward, but Connecticut paved the way, 1662. There's some amazing treasures in here, so let's check it out. So another big part of Hartford history is the Colt factory. Colt as in Colt firearms, and that blue dome is seen in this picture here can be seen from miles away and all around the area. For years they've talked about restoring it, turning it into a museum. The National Parks has funded an effort that has been years ongoing to try to do that. As of right now, it has housing some restored luxury apartments. I am really hoping that they fulfill the dream of turning it into a giant Colt factory museum, but I'm not holding my breath as it's been years. And if you guys are into the pew pew life, like the boys in my family, this would definitely be of interest to you. Here are some old firearms. Here, for example, is a Patterson. I am not a gun expert, though I do appreciate them. I know a little bit. This is not like my area of expertise, but look at the size of that thing. And here, this golden Colt here was actually on top of the blue dome and brought inside here to the museum, but this is an original. Sat outside for years. Of course, Colt firearm is a classic piece of Americana and has played a role in everything from wars to movies. Pretty iconic. Pretty cool because this is an 1848 pocket revolver, but it's got its entire original case and all of its accessories. There's a bit about factory production. Firearms and ammunition have been manufactured in Connecticut since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Inventors Eli Whitney, Simeon North, and Samuel Colt designed firearms in interchangeable parts using manufacturing methods that are now recognized as the beginning of mass production. Henry Ford's famous assembly line was inspired by these Connecticut manufacturers. So very important to industry, the economy, and a bit of inventive spirit. They're making practical things that, you know, everybody needs. And thankfully in this country, we do have a right to use these if we so choose. If you don't so choose, that's okay too. But if you do, they are here for. Example of some things that were manufactured right here in Connecticut. Ooh, wartime production. As the provision state, Connecticut industries continued to manufacture and supply all branches of the military during wartime in the 20th century. Landers, Frary and Clark Company and the Underwood Typewriter Company transitioned from making household products and sporting goods to the tools you see here for World War I, II, Korea, and Vietnam. Everybody did their part, right? So.
That weird building, isn't it the one that you pass on the freeway?
No. They're made in West Hartford now. So we're just talking about Colt and their status as a company right now. It seems like they're still around, but not exactly as they used to be, but they are still partially made in West Hartford, Connecticut, also Czech Republic and Kansas City. So kind of interesting. Nice view from the steps up here, looking back at the new state capitol. Now we're gonna go check out the old state capitol. I'm really excited because it's been closed for years and years and years. Always wanted to go in there, never have, so let's do it. So glad the weather held out. Yesterday we had a big nor'easter and I drove here. It was interesting. It wasn't that bad. It was supposed to be a lot worse according to the news. You know, they love to hype everybody up. But it was kind of nasty today. More mild, overcast, but not freezing and not raining. So as I hope you've learned so far, Connecticut has a rich history in industry, big past tied to patriotism and invention. It's been home to writers and artists. A who's who of interesting cast of characters. It's an interesting place. Hartford is one of the bigger cities in Connecticut. You get out into rural Connecticut and it looks more like the area of New England we're from. This is a bigger, more diverse city. My sister doesn't live in Hartford. She's a little bit out, more country-ish. Taking a look here. There is the Man over there. You see that? Connecticut has some great little towns that are very colonial that I love as well, like Wethersfield and Litchfield. There's history everywhere. Connecticut's got some good spots. Well, Hartford has a lot of nice parks. Isn't there an Elizabeth Park?
Yes.
And this is Bushnell Park. Named after David Bushnell, creator of the Turtle, our first submarine. The Turtle was a funny contraption. Was literally only designed to fit Davy Bushnell himself. Very dangerous. Fueled by gunpowder. He successfully used it. Here is a photograph of a reproduction of the turtle that is on display at the USS Nautilus Museum in Groton, Connecticut. In the waters off Long Island. Until one day he used it and it wasn't successful and the turtle was no more. But he was a lifelong inventor, brilliant man, patriot, friend to many important cast of characters and a who's who of founding fathers and such. And he was from right here. And a lot of things named after him. Look at this. So I'm being told by my sister that this is the gateway to the park. I have never walked over here. Look at that. Jacob Weidman's design of the park utilizes many of Frederick Law Olmsted of the Boston area. His techniques, including curvilinear paths and the separation of uses. His design incorporated pedestrian use in the eastern section and a carriage path. We need to go to Olmsted's property and see his gardens and home. Look, you guys, it's Old Put. Israel Putnam. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. Hero of Bunker Hill. Didn't we just talk about him when we were over in New York and Vermont? Old Put, huge part, especially the early years and right now, if we are following the timeline and are in the siege of Boston,
Israel Putnam, one of the good ones. The sculptor, John Quincy Adams Ward. Very common during those days for people to name their children after founding fathers. Kay has some grandfathers with cool names like that. He's got a Francis Marion something or another. Kind of funny. When was the park established?
1854.
1854. It's been around a little bit. Very nice. And there are lots of nice parks and gardens in the area. Ton of museums. You could spend a lot of time checking it all out. I mean, I've been here a lot, never even seen this, so that goes to show you just how much there is. Depending on if there's a carousel over in that building. It looks like a carousel building. We don't think they let people up in the tower gate anymore either. I don't know if there's a carousel in there or not. Looks very carousel-esque though, doesn't it? I'll see you there. Bushnell Park, 1854. All right, now I got a carousel. Wonder how much it is to ride, or if they're running rides. That answers the question. So it's $2 a ride. It appears to be. All right, we're doing it. We're the only ones in here. This is hilarious. How to choose? I don't know.
It's really funny.
This is hilarious and random. I don't know.
Before you girls, ladies get on.
Yeah, girls is good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I was going with that first.
Okay, yeah.
There's two speeds on this.
Okay.
There's a normal speed that goes 9 miles an hour.
Uh-huh.
And then there's an adult ride. And that goes 15 miles an hour.
Oh my God, I don't want to yak.
You ain't gonna yak.
No, 15 miles.
15?
Yeah, we're the only carousel in the country that goes that fast. Yeah, we're the fastest out there.
Okay.
Perfect for your block.
If I yak.
Nah, you ain't gonna yak.
Has anybody yacked?
No.
Not on your watch?
No.
All right.
I've done this for a decade and 2 years.
Okay, so
I could like do every beat for you.
was this carousel made for the space?
No, this was built in Brooklyn, New York in 1914.
Okay, cool.
And then got sent to Canton, Ohio, and then came here in
Oh.
1975. Like this building too, is all intact.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
That's cool,
it's
man.
Crazy how they did that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
because
didn't even know this was here.
because you're weird. You don't get out.
No, I don't.
This is real horse hair. Oh my
real
gosh.
horse here. You could feel it in the back.
Oh my gosh.
It's right here. All right, let me see your hand. Look, right there.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That is so
I don't know
cool.
how they do it.
I really hope a horse didn't die for that. Yeah. Switch to the inside horse because the outside one goes even faster and I don't want to yak. He assures us will be good. Why am I nervous?
I don't.
I'll wait for you to go by because when I turn this on, it's gonna be loud. So I'll wait for you to go by first.
Oh my gosh, it's like a real calliope. Yeehaw! Oh my God, that is fast.
Oh my God, this is so
Woo!
Wow, it is fast.
Holy crap!
15 miles an hour.
It's a jolly holiday with me. Mom's gonna be mad she missed this.
How is it?
It's awesome.
Right?
So,
I went on that one.
so freaking cool.
I told you we're fast.
It is so freaking cool.
You can't believe a carousel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're the first ever to do it.
Huh? He loves his. This guy loves his job, and he's very proud of his carousel. He was saying that he maintains the whole thing. He keeps it going, cleans it, keeps it well oiled, and he loves his job. So that's awesome. Time I was on a carousel, Disneyland.
fun.
Going like this.
Are you serious?
Yes. And it's the only horse that does that. And this horse, you know how horses buck?
Yeah.
You will feel it on this one.
What?
And then that white horse that you see right there,
Yeah.
that's the #1 horse with the full speed. You feel like you're galloping.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's only those 3 horses that they tweaked out.
That's
All the others are
crazy.
just normal.
Absolutely amazing.
That was so randomly fun.
So fun. Highly recommend. And do the adult speed.
Yes.
So you can feel the full effect. Plus, we just learned that there's 3 specialty horses. One that makes you feel like you're galloping, one that is bucking, and one that swivels back and forth.
That's crazy.
If you go on the outer, they're the fastest, in the middle, and then so there's large, medium, and small, and it depends on the speed, but the overall speed is 15 miles an hour.
Crazy. I'm glad he said something, because if we had just gotten on there and we're going, I would have been like, are we gonna fly? You know, you remember at the park, those terrible metal things where you would like fly? That,
Oh no, I can't do that.
no. But I mean, that was, Looking for parking. Of course it is not as bad as Boston, so that's a bright light. Oh yeah, and it's a Lafayette tour stop. Nice. Here we go, the old State House. From 1796 to 1878, this was the head of government for the state of Connecticut. The Amistad Trials happened here. Took place from 1839 to 1841. Amistad Trials really happened basically because, well, it's a very sad story. 53 captive Africans were aboard the ship Amistad. They were illegally taken by Portuguese slave hunters. They were going to be sent to the plantations to work the Caribbean, but these brave guys mutinied and ordered surviving crew to sail to Africa. But guess what? They did not make it to Africa. They wound up off the coast of New York and then Connecticut, and once here, they were charged with murder. Argument was made that they couldn't be charged because the crime happened in Spanish waters. So it went on to become a civil trial, and the argument was made for whether or not they had status of property or if they were indeed free people rather than just chattel. None other than the wonderful John Quincy Adams, who represented them and fought on their behalf. He used the Declaration of Independence as a guide for freedom and liberty, personal rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can you have any of that? Looks like we have to go to the lower entrance. You have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness if you're not considered a life, like a human being. So his argument went well, and the brilliant John Quincy Adams won the case for them. He famously said that it was the ultimate right of all human beings in extreme cases to resist oppression and apply force against ruinous injustice. Charles Bulfinch was the architect of the old State House, and you guys might remember, he also designed the State House in Massachusetts. This is very exciting. It isn't just the Amistad Trials. I mean, Thomas Hooker gave a sermon here in which he laid the foundation for those fundamental orders that we saw earlier. Famous speeches and events in history, and it's so cool to stand here and think about the people that came through these halls. Also have an amazing treat here. That is one of 5 original Gilbert Stuart paintings, original painting of General George Washington. And this is the original Senate chamber. This is the House chamber. And would you believe that in 1885, P.T. Barnum took the floor here? He served as one of Fairfield's representatives from 1865 to 1869. He didn't just lead a circus. He was a leader of men. He was a really good guy, actually. Very interesting life. I don't know if a lot of people realize everything that P.T. Barnum did. More information on him here. Oh, I'm so glad that they have him represented. If he were living today, he would be considered very conservative in his beliefs. When he spoke out in support of African American suffrage, he was associated with the Connecticut towns of Bethel, Fairfield, and the cities of Bridgeport and Hartford. Picture of the last court council that was held here, 1915. Now we're entering, just like that, from the chamber to the Museum of Curiosities. There's going to be some funky stuff in here. Oh my.
And this is the collection of one man, the Reverend Joseph Stewart.
Oh my. A calf with 2 complete heads. It says Joseph Stewart opened his Hartford Museum of Paintings, Natural Curiosities here in the Old State House in 1797, proudly advertised in the Connecticut Current, which is America's oldest newspaper, by the way. They have America's oldest art museum and America's oldest newspaper and oldest constitution. He advertised that he had, among other exhibits, a calf with 2 complete heads, also a pig of the same description, having 2 perfect heads in one body. Weirdness. Continuing the creepy theme today. Here you go. To say this is one of the stranger, creepy rooms that I've been in. I got a upside-down hanging alligator, a mountain goat, a 2-headed cow, and lots of scary faces looking at me. This is so strange. What a random day full of random adventure and findings and curiosities. Not a huge room, but it's big enough. Full of weirdness. And here we are in the actual courtroom. It looks like they are setting up for something, but we'll take a look. And this is where the Amistad Trials took place. It's amazing. That's what I was saying. The ship arrived in New York and then wound up in New London, and they were arrested and brought here. Charged initially with murder. And there wasn't just men, there were children too.
And if you guys have not seen the movie with Sir Anthony Hopkins and Morgan Freeman, I highly recommend. If you want something to watch, it's really good. The movie covers not only what the slaves went through, but the trial and how John Quincy Adams defended them.
Guys, well, I think that's going to do it. Like Patrick Henry, John Quincy Adams. I know of no way of judging the future but by the past. The past is good, very, very good. I hope you enjoyed taking a little look at Hartford, Connecticut today, some of its history and amazing buildings. We have so much more ahead. Really appreciate you guys watching. And if you watched till the end, you guys rock. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, I'm also on Instagram at _historychick, on Facebook at @thathistorychick, and right here on this channel with more exciting content. So much to go, and we are almost to Bunker Hill. It's going to be a really good summer. I'm excited. It is currently raining, but hopefully, eventually, we get sun in New England. I'm sure it's coming, and I will bring you guys along when it does, and even if it doesn't. Take care. I hope you liked it. We will see you soon. Bye. Piranha.